Good morning, Internet, and thank you for watching Woodcrest Bonsai. Today I'm going to make some more accent plants. So if you ever look at bonsai displays, you will see that typically they are made from three different components. There's the tree, and then there's some kind of scroll on the wall behind, and then there's an accent plant. Usually from to one side or the other and in front of the tree. In many bonsai displays, the scroll really doesn't play an important part. A lot of displays are fairly temporary, so you don't see the scrolls that often. But the accent plants are fairly, I don't want to say compulsory, but they are definitely a part of the vast majority of displays that you see, especially on the internet. So I'm going to do some more. Over here I did some succulent ground cover thingies. I have no idea what they actually are, and they have all taken quite well. I put them in a very well drained cactus and succulent mix, and I have not lost one single one. Today I'm going to do Dwarf Crown of Thorns. So here's our subject for the cuttings, and this is not a windswept. It's just fallen over from its own weight, poor thing. So I'm just going to take some cuttings, and I've got my pots, and I'm basically just going to fill the tray that's over here, over there. So there's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 16, 17 more that I'm going to do. This is the very well drained cactus succulent mix. And now Crown of Thorns is a fairly descriptive term, because they got lots of thorns. So I'm going to cut a chunk here. And one problem with these guys too is that they're all leaning. So if we look at this guy here, everything's leaning because it was growing like that. And of course plants want to grow up towards the sun. Up, and a lot of sap. So actually I brought some tweezers to act as my second hand. So we're going to chop that like that. So the tweezers, it's interesting because I don't wear gloves. I don't like to wear gloves because you lose your tactile sense. But I do wear gloves on two separate circumstances. One is nasty sap, and the other is thorns. And lo and behold, these guys have both. So he's leaning pretty bad, but it'll all right itself once it gets going. And I'm going to do my best to repot the main plant and right it, straighten it back up. I do want to take the cuttings from the top though, because I've got some cuttings right here that are perfectly straight. That would you could just pop them right into the pot. But I want to take some cuttings from the top because I want it to be less top heavy. So take my tweezers, and that's actually working pretty well. All right, there we go. So this is just kind of playing around. Oh, look, it's even got some air plants, which are actually a type of bromeliad. And you notice I'm not trimming the tops either. I may trim the tops once they straighten out and are not so lopsided. Then I may trim, all the growing points, make it a little bit. This is tricky. I need to use my scissors too. Okay, get in there. There we go. God, it wants to keep coming back up. Stop that. Thank you. All right, then a little bit extra soil. And whenever I do a succulent like this, even Portulacaria jade, which of course is renowned as an excellent beginner bonsai, I will not water for at least 24 hours. Got to let that cut heal. Now I could cut it like this, take it like this, and then just leave it. I could just put them all on the tray like this, all the cuttings, and just leave them for 24 hours to allow the scar to heal. You can see all the sap coming out of there. But that's not entirely necessary to do it like that. As long as they don't get too much water after they've been planted, they'll be fine. And today was actually a very cold morning. We were in the 40s. It's warming up quite nicely. But yeah, we were in the 40s. I'm afraid that a lot of this stuff down here, well, it's still got some green. But, once again, because the plant fell over like this, all this lower growth is just not getting enough sun. The plant is putting so much more energy into this stuff because plants want to grow straight up. These guys are suffering. I really believe that if I get it straight up again, that all that stuff will recover in no time at all. That guy's kind of wimpy, but we'll do him anyway. Where's my tweezers? And like I said, when you're doing accent plants in a bonsai show, so he just jumped right out of the pot. So we can alleviate that. Down in there. Your accent should depict the same environment that your tree is from. So if you have an alpine tree, your accent should be from an alpine environment. If you have a swamp tree like a bald cypress, then your accent plant should be from a swampy, wet environment. If you have a succulent tree, then your accent plant should be a succulent, which is what both of these guys are. The crown of thorns plus the mystery ones that I'm not even sure. They're both succulents. However, that is not really super hard and fast. Any accent is better than none. For some unknown reason, he doesn't want to come off. And holy cow, the leaves are falling from my big trees like crazy. And of course, since I'm in zone 10 in Florida, the seasons are all completely different here. Because you may be thinking, leaves falling in March? What? Because obviously northern climates, the leaves fall in October or November. This is kind of like a surprise, because when I'm cutting the main trunk, I have no idea what is actually attached to it. And like this one here, it has that stump which will be removed at some point right there. But it doesn't have to be done today. Let them recover. Let them begin to grow. Let the new growth straighten back out. And then I can do some of that stuff. You know, make them prettier. Right now, just trying to get them into the soil. Some of these may actually get some very extensive trimming. This mix is so light that the plants just don't want to stay in there. They just want to come back up. So it really is turning into a glorious day. The sun is shining. I try to get out here before the sun does come up. Because I think when we're in shadow, the resolution of the camera is a little better. But I didn't this morning. It was too cold. I'm a wimp. When it gets in the 40s, I just don't want to go outside. We had a pretty powerful cold front come through Wednesday, and it created a tremendous amount of severe weather for a lot of people in the U.S. By the time it got to us, it had completely fizzled out, and we got no rain at all from it. And then yesterday, it was actually fire weather. The front had come through, and it was so incredibly dry and windy that we had red flag warnings for fire. The humidity was in the 20%, and that is like unheard of. Well, not unheard of. Rare for Florida. And I actually watered my collection twice yesterday because it was just so windy and so dry, and the humidity was so low. Plus it was super, super bright sun. So that's like a triple whammy there. A very sunny day is going to dry your trees out more than a cloudy day. A windy day is going to dry your trees out more than a calm day. And very low humidity is going to dry your trees out more than a humid day. And yesterday we had all three. But because I water by hand, you know, I'm out here. I just walk out into my backyard and there's my bonsai collection. So knowing that what the conditions were wasn't that big of a deal. Just came out a second time and gave everything a little more water. We've only got 2 more to go. So after this guy, it will be 1 more to go. Some of them are pretty funky. But I fully expect all of this almost looks like a windswept. Of course, they all look like windsweeps. All of that will straighten itself out. And actually in no time at all, maybe another month. So I've got one more. Where do I take it from? About right there. This particular plant could probably give me 100 cuttings, especially if I righted it up and allowed all this stuff here to recover. The poor thing. I mean, I'm not much of a fan of crown of thorns as a bonsai per se, because they typically grow just like this one. Big multi-trunk thing with not much definition. And this is the dwarf form. There is a larger form. They're very, very similar. Can't really see much difference. Alright, so there we go. The tray is full. You can see I'm wearing my hat. So no water for at least 24 hours, and maybe even more than that. And then let them straighten back up, and then I'll just play with them, cut them. I may even make some of them little mini bonsai. Like I said, they don't make great bonsai, but as an accent, it might be interesting to have them with a little bit of branching and a little bit of development, like a little mame. So there we go, just playing around on a Friday morning in the spring. It's even though it was a cold morning, spring has gotten into full gear here. I've got almost every one of my temperate plants sprouting. Hawthorns, junipers, bald cypress, Schilling's holly, just about everything is sprouting like crazy. And being in zone 10, that's pretty typical. So there we go. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. And please like this video. The thumbs ups and the likes and the comments all help push the algorithm to other people that may not have been exposed to my channel. So I truly appreciate that you're doing that for me. And there we go. So thank you so much for watching with Chris Bonsai.